what's up guys, Bo HD here, and Apple has refreshed the Mac Mini with their first generation M1 ARM-based processor that is already receiving rave reviews. So Apple just announced this chip earlier this month, promising 3 times faster CPU performance, 6 times faster graphics, and 15 times faster machine learning than the previous Mac Mini. Those are some big claims that I just could not resist testing because, first of all, I've always wanted a Mac Mini for some reason and thankfully resisted the last version because this one just blows it out of the water in terms of performance, and also because I just want to see if this little computer can replace my $3,000+ 5K iMac that's, in all honesty, due for an upgrade because I purchased it in late 2013. But we'll see that inside the box, we'll find the silver Mac Mini sitting right on top. You can still buy the space gray Intel version, but sadly, Apple isn't offering a space gray M1 version, so you will have to suffice with the silver. Underneath, we have some paperwork, including one large Apple sticker that you can plaster on your car and make it look like you got money. Last but not least, there's a power cable, and that's literally it. So we can unwrap the Mac Mini from its protective plastic just as if it were an iPhone. It's very similar. Like I said, this is the first Mac Mini that I've ever owned. And I gotta say already, I really love the minimal sleek package and the aluminum shell. That's oh so cool to the touch. It really looks and feels great. Not that you're gonna really be feeling this thing every day, unless you're some weirdo like myself. Maybe I'll do that. I'm just gonna stop there. In terms of ports, this might be the biggest physical change from the other models as there's less ports, not more. You get a dedicated Ethernet jack, 2 Thunderbolt 3 or USB Type-C ports, an HDMI out, 2 USB Type-A ports, and a combined headphone/mic jack. Okay, so at this point, I went ahead and I removed my 5K iMac from my desk, and I brought the BenQ 4K monitor front and center, hooked it up to the Mac Mini, and I started transferring old video files from my hard drives over to this computer to see just how well this machine could edit them to ultimately determine if I could replace my 5K iMac with this 2020 Mac Mini. Now, before I report what I found, there's a few things you need to know first. The Mac Mini I have is the spec'd out version with 16 gigabytes of RAM, which adds $200 to the overall price, but it's important to consider at the time of buying the machine because you can't upgrade the RAM later or after the fact. So I definitely wanted to get the 16 gigabytes of RAM right away. Another thing to consider or note, just as a refresher, the M1 chip is an ARM-based processor built on a 5nm architecture similar to the A14 Bionic chip that is powering Apple's latest iPhones, which has also received some very good reviews and very strong benchmarks. It features an 8-core CPU with an integrated 8-core GPU. There's also a 16-core neural engine for machine learning tasks. Now, since this is an ARM-based processor and not an Intel chip based on x86, many of the apps like Photoshop and Chrome aren't natively supported. So, Apple released a translation app called Rosetta that lets these apps work on computers with the new M1 chip. And while Apple says some apps actually perform better after being translated, generally speaking, that's not the case, and you will see worse performance with these translated apps that aren't natively supported. Okay, so with that out of the way, I am pleased to report that I'm able to edit my PhoneDog videos like butter, even with a version of Adobe Premiere Pro that doesn't work natively with the M1 chip. What this means is performance is really only going to get better early next year when Adobe releases an official ARM-compatible version of the app. So even with powering a 32-inch 4K monitor and chopping 60 FPS video, it's able to perform very well. And I've just found that, in my limited testing, just from setting this thing up, I found that most apps that have to be translated work pretty well on the new Mac Mini, with the exception of Chrome. For whatever reason, Chrome is just really slow, relatively speaking, I suppose. But compared to Safari, Safari is just super well optimized and everything is almost instant. It's so fast. And really, all Apple apps that are supported and optimized just open and close like butter with no animation issues. It really does prove that this new M1 chip is extremely capable and very promising. When I sign in to the Mac Mini, it's instant. Like there's no real loading times. It's really, really promising. And Just for fun, I ran Geekbench 5, which is optimized for Apple Silicon, and I got almost a 1700 single core score and over 7,000 multi-core score. And that was running the test while listening to a podcast and having several Chrome tabs and other files open in the background. So overall, really promising stuff. I already feel better about my impulsive decision to pick up this machine. I want to follow up with my Mac Mini setup in the coming days. Until then, though, let me know what you'd like to see to test for my full review. With that said, guys, I'm BoHD from PhoneDog.com. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. See ya.